Right now at 5, authorities in Columbus, Kansas respond to a suspicious device.
And we've got strong to severe thunderstorms as expected starting to roll into the area. We'll take a look at the latest alerts and when those storms will get here coming up.
Also, an Oklahoma inmate who stabbed a woman to death gets executed by the state.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Amber Jenkins.
I'm Chris Warner. So we mentioned the possibility of strong to severe thunderstorms this morning, and that is exactly what we have out there right now. Let's take a look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Off to the west in southeast Kansas, you can see we're getting some showers and some thunderstorm activity, but it's down into north central Oklahoma where we've got this line of strong to severe thunderstorms. Earlier at Tinker Air Force Base, 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts with these. And their other concern is that these storms, we're getting a little notches in the line, which could potentially cause some brief spin-up tornadoes. Now, I don't think we're going to run into that serious of a threat as this line moves into our area, but strong severe thunderstorms with gusty winds, absolutely possible as this continues to roll off to the east. So you can see the bow echo on this. We're familiar with that after the last couple of rounds of severe weather we've had, and it is continuing to lift off. As you see, it initially surged southeast into central Oklahoma, and it's now beginning to turn east and back northeasterly. So we'll have to keep an eye on exactly what course it takes and whether or not it manages to weaken before it gets here. We've also got thunderstorm activity developing out ahead of this line now that is also shifting off to the north and east. And as such, we do have, I do apologize, this box did not appear. We have this severe thunderstorm watch, though, for all of northeast Oklahoma and Benton County and northwest Arkansas, and that runs until 10 a.m. this morning. So no active warnings in our immediate area, but we do have that severe thunderstorm watch that we're going to keep an eye on. So this outlook, again, was issued about 1 o'clock this morning. You can see where the initial expectations of some hail and gusty winds were, but obviously that's beginning to change as we go through the morning. As we head into the afternoon, these thunderstorms will eventually begin to roll out of the area, and we'll go partly cloudy back behind that. A couple of stray showers here or there may linger, but we'll otherwise have a really nice afternoon and evening and a chilly evening ahead of us as well. Look at that, lower 60s by tomorrow morning. As we head into our Saturday, a couple of pop-up storms are possible, but as you can see, they'll be relatively isolated. And then late Saturday, we could see another batch of showers and thunderstorms begin to roll through the area as well, but we're not anticipating any severe weather with that. We're at 72 in Joplin. We're dew points up there, humidity up there. We've got some instability to work with, and you can see the oranges here, the warmer patch of air right ahead of that line of thunderstorms, and that's why they went ahead and put that watch out, because there's a little more energy for these storms to work with across parts of northeastern Oklahoma. Because we had 77 Veneta, 76 Miami, 78 in Grove, and then you had just a bit to the north, 71 Pittsburgh, 68 in Nevada. So a little warmer down there, a little more energy. So again, we'll keep an eye on these storms for you. We'll have those scattered thunderstorms going through the morning. As such, if you get under one of these storms, you may experience a brief temperature drop. But even then, our highs today still considerably better than where they've been, into the upper 70s, lower 80s. We'll be mostly cloudy heading into the afternoon. And we've got, again, a fairly decent evening ahead of us, warm, and then a pretty mild overnight back into the mid-60s across the area. We'll continue to track these storms as they roll into the area. We'll bring you the latest on any watches and warnings throughout the morning show. And we'll have a look at your 7-day forecast here in a few more minutes. Amber?
Thank you, Chris. Columbus, Kansas authorities have been dealing with a suspicious device. Authorities say around 11 Thursday morning, demolition crews found a suspicious-looking device at 1212 West Maple Street. Authorities say the device resembled a pipe with a bottle cap on one end. A Kansas woman is dead after she was struck by a train Thursday afternoon. Barton County, Missouri authorities say they received a call and responded near the state line near Mulberry, Kansas. The woman died at the scene. Authorities say she was on foot. Oklahoma executed a man for stabbing a Tulsa woman to death with a butcher knife in 1995. On Thursday, 51-year-old Jermaine Cannon received a lethal injection at the Oklahoma State Penitentiary in McAllister. He was pronounced dead at 10:13 a.m. Cannon was convicted and sentenced to die for killing 20-year-old Sharonda Clark, a mother of 2 young daughters. He has been living with Clark at an apartment in Tulsa after his escape from a prison work center in southwest Oklahoma. Cannon had been serving a 15-year sentence for the violent assault of another woman. He claimed at a clemency hearing last month, he killed Clark in self-defense. The Missouri Supreme Court orders Attorney General Andrew Bailey to stand down on abortion cost dispute. The Missouri Supreme Court wants Bailey to allow an initiative petition to legalize abortion in the state to move forward. The Supreme Court judges unanimously affirmed a lower court's decision that Bailey must approve the cost estimate provided by the auditor. That's the dispute, despite Bailey's instance that the cost of the taxpayers restoring abortion rights could be as much as 1,000,000 times higher than what the auditor found. Kansas Attorney General Chris Kobach wants to keep transgender people from intervening in his lawsuit over state IDs. It's in his state lawsuit against changing the sex listing on their state driver's license. His efforts will block further changes into at least November. 5 transgender residents represented by the state's American Civil Liberties Union chapter are asking a district judge to allow them to intervene. On Thursday, Kobach said he's opposing their request, and the judge plans to rule on it after an August 16th hearing. A Pittsburgh area citizens come together as a part of a grassroots effort to address the issue of homelessness in the community. It was a packed house last evening as residents gathered at the Pittsburgh Reese Nichols office for a meeting to discuss the issues. Representatives from various organizations that help the homeless gave representations on the services they provide, and members of the public participated with Q&A sessions. Organizers say the goal of the meeting was to educate the community and help residents understand what can be done to support local people struggling with homelessness.
Might be overnight housing so that they can get jobs. Like if they're sleeping outside, there's nowhere for them in the morning to shower. The Wesley House opens at 8 o'clock. There's nowhere for them to shower. Some of these people are, actively employed and homeless right now.
Business owners, property owners, and concerned citizens were all invited to attend the meeting. Spire Energy is putting some misinformation to rest about bill payments. Officials say there are videos on TikTok and other social media platforms showing people claiming to be finance experts with tips to get out on paying on your utility bills. The videos recommended sending strange documents with certain flags and seals. Spire says they have been receiving these documents from customers in Missouri, but they want people to know they aren't legit. As Spire officials say, some of these scams are getting creative.
We're getting all kinds of interesting things being sent to us. Customers are putting seals on their Spire remittance stub. They are putting interesting stamps on there. Some of them are putting actual thumbprints. They're sending forms in, and none of those tactics are really a replacement for actually paying your bill.
Spire says if you need assistance paying your bill, they have programs to help. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in your first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Pitt State women's basketball team gathered together and practiced. Plus, how extreme heat raises costs and something you wouldn't expect, healthcare. And Chris will have.
Pitt State women's basketball is doing something that most other colleges aren't allowed to do right now. That is practicing together as a team. The Gorillas began practice Wednesday, and they are allowed 10 practice sessions over 14 days together before heading to Spain on July 31st up until August 10th, which brings them just a couple of weeks away from the start of the school year. And head coach Amanda David says this time together is especially valuable for her freshmen.
It was huge. We've always talked about having our kids at our team camp, the freshmen coming in and just get them acclimated, get them around their teammates. They'll scrimmage and do things, but we've never had an opportunity to actually get our hands on them and get them with their teammates in this setting. And so I think with the 4 freshmen we have coming in right now, the timing is just amazing to have this opportunity to get, we have 12 on our roster. And so I feel like they have a great opportunity to come in and contribute and play.
In local baseball, the American Legion Kansas 3A state tournament is taking place right now, and yesterday, Pittsburgh Post 64 hosted Post 239 from Overbrook. The Pittsburgh Post 64 Patriots host the Overbrook Bombers. Starting on top of the first, Connor Van Beclair keeps this ball fair down the line. Noah Duncan scores. RBI double gives the Patriots an early 1-0 lead. So to the bottom of the third, Overbrook goes on a big scoring run. The pitcher, Brody Gleason, helps his own cause with an RBI double. Overbrook leads 5-1. Next batter at the plate, Bryce Torkelson singles for an RBI. Overbrook grows up now 6-1. But the Patriots aren't going down without a fight. We go to the top of the fourth inning, a 6-2 game. Wild pitch here, and as Ethan Rhodes will come in to score, Pittsburgh is clawing their way back in it, cutting the lead in half, down 6-3. Top of the fifth is where we're going to go now. 7-3 Overbrook, Connor Van Beesler. Again, this time he clears the wall for a solo home run. Pittsburgh starts to get back in this game by being down 7-4. The rally wasn't enough, though. The Overbrook Bombers go on to beat Pittsburgh Patriots 9-4. Very important night in the Mink League as well. Just a few days until the playoffs, and the first place Joplin Outlaws begin a 3-game set against second place Jeff City on the road. A big 3-game series for the Jefferson City Renegades. Joplin is in first place in the South Division. If they win 2 of 3 at Jeff City this weekend, they get a first round bye. This game was a boxer's match. Outlaws throw the first punch. Colton Reynolds crushes this pitch for a 2-run bomb in the very first inning. But the Renegades, they would punch back. Big second inning for Jeff City. Cam Durnan smokes one to left for a base hit. And he would set the stage for Charlie Rogan. Still in the inning, 2 runners on. Rogan puts the ball in play, but an error will score 2 runners to tie this game back up at 2. Then the Renegades would take the lead. Bases loaded for Luke Matshiner. And he's going to deliver. Sneaks this hit past the shortstop's glove for another run. Renegades score 4 runs in the inning. Outlaws come back, score 6 in the third. Back in fourth game, and Joplin wins a nail-biter 8-7. Well, still to come, Shark Week is coming. We're going to give you a sneak peek, and we're going to take another look at these strong to severe thunderstorms getting ready to roll into the area when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:17 now on this finally Friday here in the 4 states, and we've got strong to severe thunderstorms to deal with. Taking a quick live look at the MoDOT camera at 32nd and range line. Thankfully, I'm already stopped behind the line as the light changes, but we're looking good so far. But take a look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker, painting a completely different picture. Now for southeast Kansas, so far just getting some moderate rainfall, and we've got some thunderstorms trying to work their way into parts of south central Kansas, but it's this activity that is off to our south and west right now that we are keeping a close eye on. So we've got new development ahead of this line of severe thunderstorms, so we're going to keep an eye on that because that's pushing off to the north and to the east. But this is our concern. These are severe thunderstorms, and as you can see, this is a nice little bow echo here with this squall line. So we've seen winds as high as 80 miles an hour with these storms. Right now, we're looking at 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts, but nonetheless, still something you do not want to mess with. On top of that, we have this severe thunderstorm watch for northeastern Oklahoma and northwestern Arkansas that runs until 10 a.m. So this line initially was surging southeast, has begun to turn easterly, and if you look close enough, it looks like it's trying to turn a little more northeasterly. So we'll keep a close eye on these storms as we go through the morning. Bear in mind this severe weather outlook for today with the low wind risk for hail and wind. This was issued at 1 a.m. It is traditionally not updated until 8 a.m. So I'm going to say it's safe to say we're going to see a slightly increased risk for some hail and especially damaging wind gusts out there. So again, something to keep an eye on through the morning. These storms and showers could continue through about the noon, 1 o'clock hour before they will eventually clear out and leave us with partly cloudy to mostly clear skies out there. And we've got an absolutely beautiful Friday ahead of us once we get through the severe weather this morning. We go into our Saturday, not a bad day Saturday either. We'll see some pop-up showers possible, maybe even a couple of thunderstorms, but these should be fairly isolated. But later in the evening, and I mean later in the evening on Saturday, we could see some additional thunderstorms, but the good news is we're not anticipating any severe weather right now. We're sitting at 72 in Joplin, dew point's at 63, humidity is at 73%, and take a look at the oranges where it's a bit warmer. That's why they went ahead and put put that watch out because they believe these storms are going to have at least a little more energy to feed off of as they surge into northeastern Oklahoma through the morning. Because we've got mid to upper 70s, 78 Grove, 76 Miami, 77 Bonita, even up into parts of southern southeast Kansas, 75 in Independence and Chatopa. But then you head further north and east, and it's considerably cooler. 69 Fort Scott, 68 Nevada, 72 in Carthage. So these storms could hold their own as they get into northeast Oklahoma. They could even clip into parts of southwest Missouri and parts of our southern counties into southeast Kansas. So again, we'll keep a close eye on these for you. We're right here watching them. Scattered showers and thunderstorms again continuing through the morning. If you get under some of these thunderstorms, you could see a pretty decent temperature drop, but we will still warm up today, but not nearly as hot as it's been. We're talking upper 70s, low 80s for highs today. Mostly cloudy skies. Could still be a bit muggy following these storms, but otherwise not bad at all. And we'll go mostly clear through the evening. And we've got a nice mild evening ahead of us as well. Take a look at that. So we drop back into the mid 60s for our overnight lows. We start to warm up a bit more tomorrow, back into the upper 80s. And then as we head into the next work week, I wish I had better news. I just don't. We'll see pop-up storm chances. That's great. We do need that rain. But we go into the triple digits nearly every day next week with those pop-up storm chances. So that also means the humidity levels are going to be high. So we got to make sure you're taking precautions. We'll continue to watch these storms as they roll into the area, and if anything pops up, we will pop in and let you know. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Health Watch this morning. Texas is seeing a spike in infant deaths. Preliminary infant mortality data found about 2,200 infants died in the state in 2022. That's an 11.5% increase over the previous year. Infant deaths caused by severe genetic and birth defects rose by nearly 22%. This spike reverses a nearly decade-long decline. This coincides with a ban on abortion beyond 6 weeks of pregnancy. The increase in deaths could also be attributed to more babies being born in the state. The U.S. in the middle of one of the worst cancer drug shortages in history, and health experts say the effects on cancer research may be felt for years to come. At least 25 cancer drugs are currently in short supply. It's affecting thousands of patients who face delay or canceled chemotherapy appointments, but it's also impacting research. Two drugs in particular, carboplatin and cisplatin, may be hurting research the most because they are used in such a wide variety of cancers. According to the National Cancer Institute, cisplatin and other platinum-based drugs are prescribed to 10 to 20% of all cancer patients. We know the hotter temperatures are driving up energy expenses, but there is another cost that's rising: healthcare. A study by Virginia Commonwealth University and the Center for the American Progress found soaring temperatures will be responsible for an additional 235,000 emergency room visits, as well as 56,000 hospital admissions each year. That's about $1 billion in additional healthcare costs. The Centers for Disease Control says an average of 700 people die from heat exposure each year, and the National Weather Service says among weather-related fatalities, heat is the #1 killer, more than extreme cold, hurricane winds, tornadoes, and floods. It's estimated that at least 39 million Americans live with migraine attacks, according to the American Migraine Foundation. The health experts say extremely hot weather can not only make these painful headaches happen more often, but it can cause them to be more severe. Manny Gather has more on how to manage the migraines in this heat.
Changes in barometric pressure, extremely high temperatures, and the threat of dehydration.
You put that all together, and patients who suffer from migraines will suddenly see an increase in headache or migraine frequency during these events.
Dr. Ahmad Estamalik with Cleveland Clinic says those with constant chronic migraines will most likely require daily medication, injections, or a procedure. But for those who get them less frequently, you can manage migraines by knowing your triggers and avoiding them. And stay hydrated. Estamalik says that alone may eliminate the possibility of a migraine. Finally, turn to rescue medicine as soon as symptoms start, but he cautions not to take those medications too many times a week.
We usually recommend no more than 2 to 3 times, just because for those patients who have migraines, they run the risk of developing what we call rebound headaches if they use abortive medications too often.
And if you're struggling with heat-related migraines, Esther Malik says to seek care.
The disorder, despite being very, very prevalent, remains underdiagnosed, misdiagnosed, and often undertreated as well. So again, patients don't need to suffer. Talk to your healthcare provider, your neurologist, or your headache specialist, because there's a lot out there that can make a difference.
There's already a number of different types of medications available to treat migraines, including several kinds of nasal sprays. The latest one approved in March by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration as a rapid treatment for migraine pain in adults. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we're keeping an eye on strong to severe thunderstorms getting ready to roll into the area. We'll have the latest in your forecast coming up.
Right now at 5:30, the Miami Public Library unveils a new mural.
And our skies are about to get a little more active as we have strong to severe thunderstorms rolling in this morning. We'll take a look at those watches and warnings and what the rest of our Friday holds coming up.
Also, after unveiling a new mural, the Miami Public Library hosts a magic show.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 7:31. I'm Amber Jenkins.
Are you sure?
I was double checking. I wanted to make sure it's accurate, but I am sure it is. It is 5:31. Okay, guys, I'm so sorry.
I wish it was 7:31. That puts us that much closer. It puts us that much closer to the end of the day. Unfortunately, it's only 5:31, but we still want to thank you for sticking with us this morning, hanging out with us this morning. We do have some strong to severe thunderstorms that we're keeping an eye on, and by 7:30, though, they may really be rolling through the area. Let's take a look at Skywatch Storm Tracker. You can see where we've got some moderate showers out in parts of southeast Kansas, so some much needed rainfall taking place. We do have some stronger thunderstorms sneaking into the northern parts of south central Kansas, and then our big thing that we're watching are these strong to severe thunderstorms as we look back into parts of north central Oklahoma as they continue to roll off to the east at about anywhere from 40 to 50 miles an hour out there, and they're bringing winds of 60, 70 miles an hour. Even had wind gusts earlier with these storms by Enid of 80 miles an hour. So let's take a look. This line initially surged southeast through parts of southwestern Kansas, rolled into north central Oklahoma, rolling east, but our concern is as it continues to roll on through, it's starting to turn northeasterly, and we've got a decent little line of showers and thunderstorms developing ahead of it, dragging it off to the northeast. So we're going to keep a close eye on this for you. Right now, that's the only severe thunderstorm warning we have with this particular line, so that could be a good sign. Hopefully it is beginning to weaken because we do not need severe weather. We do need the rain, though, but just in case it doesn't, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas until 10 o'clock this morning. So we're going to be keeping a very close eye on these storms as they roll through. As I mentioned with this severe outlook, I think I might just toss this graphic out for now because this was issued at 1 a.m. Doesn't get updated till 8 a.m. And I'd be willing to bet there are probably a few changes to that in terms of the possibility of some strong damaging wind gusts. Showers and thunderstorms scattered. They hold on through about noon, 1 o'clock. And then once they clear out, we'll be partly cloudy, mostly clear, and we've got ourselves an absolutely gorgeous Friday today. Highs upper 70s into the lower 80s. We should see actually the humidity let up a bit, but we could still see some. We're going to stay decent even into our Saturday. Could see a stray pop-up storm or two as we head into our Saturday, and then later on the day Saturday, there are those pop-up storms. We could see a few additional thunderstorms overnight Saturday into Sunday, but the good news is at this point, not anticipating any strong or severe storms. We're going to keep an eye on these thunderstorms as they continue to push into the area and bring you the latest alerts as they come in. Amber?
Thank you, Chris. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders is not rolling out a special legislative session on tax cuts. This comes after the state ended the year with a near-record surplus. The Republican governor says the state would have an opportunity to cut the income tax further, quote, over coming months. Sanders later said that this could include the financial legislation next April or a special session before then. She signed legislation in April cutting individual and corporate income taxes by $124 million a year. On Thursday, there were several activities at the Miami, Oklahoma Public Library, one of which was the creation of a rock snake. It started with someone painting the head of a snake onto a rock. Then members of the public were invited to come out and paint their own rocks to add to the snake. The Miami, Oklahoma Library unveiled its new mural on Thursday. It was painted by Jessica Stout, who participated in a short Q&A with the kids after unveiling a talk about her inspiration for the design. The mural depicts various landmarks in Iowa County.
So the library is in the center of this composition, and radiating out from it are landmarks from Ottawa County. All of the schools are represented in our county. There are features like Route 66 and the Coleman Theater. Agriculture is represented, rural lifestyles, buildings in town.
The mural is in the Kids Connection area of the library. I hope you have an appetite for handkerchiefs, and as you can see, this trick wowed the kids. After that mural unveiling, the library hosted a magic show with magician Kevin Wade. The demand for summer flights is soaring. June was the busiest month in the history of Springfield-Branson Airport with more than 126,000 passengers. There were 4,500 scheduled flights for the first 6 months of the year, up to 6.5% from a year ago. Airport leaders say the growth comes from a better economy and pent-up demand for travel. The airport last set a passenger record in 2019, right before the pandemic.
Well, it turns out that June was the busiest month in the airport's history when you talk about the number of airline passengers. We were up about 10% compared to the same period last year, and if that continues for the rest of the year, it looks like we'll have a record year with about 1.3 million passengers.
If you plan to travel, the airport recommends you to arrive up to 2 hours early and be prepared for longer lines. Downtown Joplin was packed last night for this month's Third Thursday celebration. The month's theme was Downtown Waterfest. It featured a variety of water activities for kids and adults to help people beat the heat. There was also live music, vendors, and food trucks.
I think it's good. I really do. It gets people out like me. I live alone. And it gives people that make things time to sell their things. So I think it's a good thing.
Third Thursdays happen every month through October. The Neosho County Fair is in full swing. On Thursday, activities kicked off with an opening ceremony and a royal coronation. 4-H members from all over Neosho County also participated in rockery and robotics, cover bud, conference, and sheep judging.
So I joined 4-H when I was 7 years old. So I started off with just goats and easy stuff like that, and then eventually decided to do something bigger and try beef, and I really like it.
Today, 4-H members will show swine, rabbits, and goats. The fair runs through Monday. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. How Sesame Street is helping kids with parents who are in trouble with the law.
Plus, we'll meet an otter who is evading capture as it continues to wrangle surfboards away. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Shark Week is here again and is aiming to hook viewers on a fantastic new content on the world of the majestic apex predators. Hosted by Awkward star Jason Momoa, the biologist featured in this year's aquatic event shares with us how they push boundaries, examine new shark behaviors, and new species. Here's Ashley Dvorkin with the story.
Whoa, incoming! That shark is huge!
The 35th annual Shark Week unleashes 20 new hours of fierce content for viewers to sink their teeth into.
We at Discovery really wanted to push the boundary in terms of showing new stuff that hasn't been seen before, new behaviors, new locations, new species.
For the first time, viewers will get a close-up look at a great white feast when veteran Shark Week biologist Dr. Austin Gallagher and cameras are placed inside a life-size whale decoy in Belly of the Beast feeding frenzy.
This was a new observational platform for studying white sharks. The whole population is changing. The big ones are disappearing. We tried to use this whale carcass decoy to bring the largest ones out, and it actually worked.
The great whites off the coast of California face a formidable competitor in monster mako fresh blood.
We found these huge mako sharks, and we basically proved that they were eating seals. And this is a new kind of arms race that they're in with great whites, competition off of California.
Scientist Tom Hurd investigates if the apex predators of the Florida Keys are getting high on illegal drugs in cocaine sharks.
We were looking for behaviors that would suggest, previous encounters with cocaine bales, behaviors that would suggest sharks that aren't acting normally.
And wildlife biologist Forrest Galante explores the different species in Alien Sharks: Strange New Worlds.
We go to South Africa, an incredibly unique subsurface environment, and showcase some of the coolest, glowiest, cuddliest, most unusual sharks in the world.
Never in all my years of diving have I seen active shark mating.
A cat that lived in a Major League Baseball park is up for adoption. Smokey is one of a number of cats who lived in the Coors Field in Denver. According to Animal Rescue of the Rockies, a group of caretakers brought the food to Smokey daily. Smokey is FIV positive. FIV is feline immunodeficiency virus. The Animal Rescue of the Rockies say it's possible for FIV positive and negative cats to live together as long as everyone is spayed or neutered and they don't fight. The Animal Rescue says only Colorado homes will be considered, with a preference given to Denver metro area. This is a very elusive otter. The cute but fiery animal continues wrestling surfboards away from surfers and aggressively approaching kayakers off the coast of Santa Cruz, California. Wildlife officials say the 5-year-old female otter has shown aggression towards people for several weeks and poses as a public safety risk, and more than once, wildlife has tried to capture her, but still no success. The sea otter was named 841 by officials and was born in captivity and released into the wild on June 2020. Southern sea otters are managed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Lawmakers are calling on the Pentagon to reveal to the public what it knows about UFOs. This comes as a whistleblower says the government is in possession of a crashed alien spacecraft. A major congressional hearing on the issue is scheduled for next week. Chad Program takes a look.
GOP Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett believes the government is hiding something.
We've had a heck of a lot of pushback about this hearing. We're done with the cover-up.
Bipartisan lawmakers are suspicious of their own government.
Rumors tend to flourish in places where the federal government is silent or not transparent.
That's a scary thought that they don't trust us.
Lawmakers tried to review photos and talk to pilots who saw things, but the military stymied them.
They were hiding images and information.
2 Navy pilots who say they spotted strange things in the sky will testify at an upcoming hearing. A third witness is whistleblower and former Air Force intelligence officer David Grush. He claims the military has possession of a non-human spacecraft and potentially the remains of an extraterrestrial pilot. Burchett doubts the purported technology belongs to U.S. adversaries like China or Russia.
If Russia owned it, they wouldn't be battling in Ukraine. It'd be over.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is a UFO skeptic.
I think if we had found a UFO, I think the Department of Defense would tell us because they probably want to request more money.
The subcommittee will come to order.
In 2022, Indiana Democrat Andre Carson chaired the first hearing on UFOs in 50 years. He's concerned how people might react if we are not alone.
We saw what happened with War of the Worlds. We saw what happened with 1948. We saw what happened with radio programs in the 30s and folks were jumping out of buildings.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer wants to create a special agency to declassify UFO information as a part of this year's defense bill. We'll be right back with another look at your forecast.
We've got ourselves a pretty decent day after our morning showers and storms. Will be mostly cloudy initially. Highs today upper 70s, lower 80s. And as we head into the evening, a beautiful evening out there. Mostly clear skies and slightly lower humidity levels as well. Overnight lows back into the mid 60s. Saturday not looking too bad. A bit warmer. Maybe a couple of isolated thunderstorms. A couple of pop-up storms possible Sunday. And as we head into next week, unfortunately, the heat returns with triple digits and additional pop-up storm chances. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, now 5:48 on this finally Friday. We've had some pretty decent rainfall taking place across parts of southeast Kansas, but no severe weather up here. What we are keeping an eye on is we've got some stronger storms in south central Kansas, and then our bigger concern is this line of strong to severe thunderstorms here in north central Oklahoma, now starting to work into our area. So we have a warning that you can see barely clips the southern edge of Washington County as these showers and thunderstorms continue to move. They're still saying off to the east at about 45 to 50 miles an hour, but this line of storms here has developed out in front of those, and that's moving off to the northeast, and this whole batch here has been trying to rotate back to the northeast. So we will see what it does as the morning continues. You can see that spin associated with it as it starts to come back around, and we've got enough instability that we do have that severe thunderstorm watch for northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas that runs until 10 a.m. And of course, this is why, as we're tracking this line of strong to severe thunderstorms pushing into the area. Let's take a look after this moves through. We're going to see a few lingering showers and thunderstorms through about, say, 1 o'clock, maybe 2 at the latest. And then we'll start to clear out behind that. We've got an absolutely gorgeous Friday ahead of us once we get rid of these storms this morning. In fact, we may even see some lower humidity levels, at least briefly, across the area. Then we'll head into our Saturday. A few pop-up storms possible in the afternoon and evening. And then we could see some additional showers and thunderstorms overnight Saturday into our Sunday, but not expecting any severe weather with that. Got some partly cloudy skies in Joplin right now, sitting at 72, dew point humidity, both up there a bit. And where the orange is, where the warmer temperatures are, hence why that watch is out. A little more instability to work with in parts of northeast Oklahoma and our southern counties in southeast Kansas. So again, we'll keep an eye on that. Cooler to the north, 67 Nevada, Iola, 69 Fort Scott, 74 Chatopa, 76 Miami, and 77 down in Veneta. We'll have scattered showers and thunderstorms, of course, through the morning. And if you get under one of those storms, temperatures will stay relatively cool. Highs today, again, not bad. Upper 70s, lower 80s. Overnight lows tonight. Look at that. Gorgeous night. You can actually open the windows this evening as we go back into the mid 60s. We'll start to warm up a bit tomorrow. A little warmer for us on Sunday as we go into the low 90s. And then as we head into the next work week, triple digits unfortunately return. And of course, humidity levels return, pop-up storms possible, and we could be dealing with some unpleasant heat index values as well. We'll continue to track these storms as they roll into the area and bring you the latest on any watches and warnings, and we'll be back with more right after this.
One Chicago court has a new tool it's using to help kids of parents who are dealing with addiction issues. It relies on messages from characters many of us grew up with. Leah Hope has the story.
In a Cook County courtroom today, Elmo makes an appearance, kind of.
When Elmo talks about a problem that Elmo's having, it helps Elmo feel better. Well, me too.
Today is training for drug treatment court and drug treatment personnel from All Rise, with the help of videos from Sesame Street in communities.
Makes me feel like we're not alone. Right, we're not alone. And it's okay to open up to people about our feelings.
It's a pilot program with 3 courts in the country offering resources to help the children of defendants dealing with addiction and the criminal justice system.
It's a groundbreaking piece of the puzzle addressing the issues that families face, not just the individual faces.
Judge Charles Burns oversees the drug treatment court here, in which defendants can have their charges dropped if they successfully complete drug treatment. He says the majority of defendants are parents, some with young children.
We have to address the next generation because they are the ones that are suffering too. And the children can, in fact, understand this if they are intelligently told what it's all about and what mom or dad are going through.
One of the things we talk about in the training is to ensuring the child that it's not your fault. And so I remember internalizing things, thinking that, well, what did I do to make this happen?
Daryl Jackson is project director for All Rise and knows firsthand how developmentally appropriate information can help children, because he says he did not have that. He hopes it will be different for a new generation.
Building stronger, healthier kids, which turns into adults, which turns into productive citizens, which turns into, hopefully one day we'll have a better world.
Sesame Street and communities don't just deal with addiction issues. It also produces resources for kids dealing with divorce and military deployment. That's why Elmo will always be my friend. We'll be right back after this. Step back from the healthy food Friday, grab some chips, chocolate, and maybe some cake because it's National Junk Food Day. These foods are typically high in fat, sugar, salt, and calories. They became a staple of the American life after World War II when the popularity of prepackaged foods grew. Through the term junk foods wasn't coined until the 70s. While our favorite junk food shouldn't be everyday eats, they are definitely allowed on National Junk Food Day.
After we get through these morning thunderstorms, we've got a pretty pleasant Friday ahead of us as we go upper 70s, lower 80s across the area for our highs today. As we head into the evening, a nice evening out there, clear skies, lower humidity, at least for today, and our overnight lows drop back into the mid 60s. It's going to be a beautiful night, first night in a while where you can actually open the windows and it's going to feel cool out there. As we head into tomorrow, a few pop-up storms possible. We start to warm up. We're going to go upper 80s. The warming trend does continue. We see additional pop-up storm chances on Sunday and Monday, and unfortunately, as we head into the next work week, we go back into the triple digits, and as you see, we've got pop-up storm chances nearly every day. That means the humidity levels are going to rise again, which means it wouldn't be unlikely for us to start to see those heat index values climb back in that 105 to 110 range once again. So if you're working next week, make sure you are prepared for that. I want to skip forward real quick and update you on the Skywatch Storm Tracker in the last few seconds here. We've still got some moderate to heavy rainfall in parts of southeast Kansas, stronger storms in south central Kansas, and we're continuing to monitor this impressive line of severe thunderstorms getting ready to roll into our part of northeast Oklahoma. We'll continue to monitor these storms and have the latest on your full forecast and the rest of the week again when we come back.
Right now at 6, the fight over abortion rights in the Show Me State continues to play out. This round takes place in the state Supreme Court.
We've still got strong to severe thunderstorms getting ready to roll through the area. We will take a look at that and what it does for the rest of our Friday coming up.
Also, the fight over trans rights continue to play out in the Sunflower State as Kansas AG moves to block trans Kansans from intervening in a lawsuit.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Amber Jenkins.
I'm Chris Warner, just after 6 a.m. on this finally Friday in the 4 states. And as we mentioned yesterday, strong to severe thunderstorms a possibility this morning, and they are there. Let's take a look at Skywatch Storm Tracker, and you can see where we've still got the moderate to heavy rainfall in southeast Kansas, but no thunderstorms up there just yet. But that is about to change with this batch of thunderstorms. Now, these storms back across south central Kansas have been strong, but haven't been severe here lately, but they're starting to push into portions of Chautauqua County. And then our bigger concern is this line of severe thunderstorms that continues to roll off to the east-northeast across northeastern Oklahoma. We do have this severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect until 10 a.m. This line of storms has been packing winds anywhere between 60 to 80 miles an hour at times. And as you can see, it's continuing to push off to the east and trying to turn a little more northeasterly. So we'll continue to monitor that. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning for the very southern edge of Washington County. And a quick reminder, we have that severe thunderstorm watch northeast Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas until 10 o'clock this morning. Again, we'll continue to monitor these storms, keep you updated on the latest watches and warnings, and of course have more on your full forecast here in a few more minutes. Amber?
Thanks, Chris. The Missouri Supreme Court orders Attorney General Andrew Bailey to stand down on abortion's cost dispute. The Missouri Supreme Court wants Bailey to allow an initiative petition to legalize abortion in the state to move forward. Supreme Court judges unanimously affirmed a lower court's decision that Bailey must approve the cost estimate provided by the auditor. That's despite Bailey's insistence that the cost of the taxpayers of restoring abortion rights could be as much as 1 million times higher than what the auditor found. Kansas Attorney General Chris Kobach wants to keep transgender people from intervening in his lawsuit over state IDs. Is in his legislative state lawsuit against changing the sex listings on the state driver's license. His efforts already will be blocked further changes into at least November. 5 transgender residents represented by the state's American Civil Liberties Union chapter are asking a district judge to allow them to intervene. On Thursday, Kobach said that opposing their request, and the judge plans to rule on it after an August 16th hearing. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders is not ruling out a special legislative session on tax cuts. This comes after the state ended the year with a near-record surplus. The Republican governor said the state would have an opportunity to cut the income tax further, quote, over the coming months. Sanders later said that could include the financial legislation next April or a special session before then. She signed legislation in April cutting individual and corporate income taxes by $124 million a year. Oklahoma executed a man for stabbing a Tulsa woman to death with a butcher knife in 1995. On Thursday, 51-year-old Jermaine Cannon received a lethal injection at the Oklahoma State Penitentiary in McAllister. He was pronounced dead at 10:13 a.m. Cannon was convicted and sentenced to die for killing 20-year-old Sharonda Clark, a mother of 2 young daughters. He had been living with Clark at an apartment in Tulsa after his escape from a prison work center in southwest Oklahoma. Cannon had been serving a 15-year sentence for the violent assault of another woman. He claimed at a clemency hearing last month that he killed Clark in self-defense. Spire Energy is putting some misinformation to rest about bill payments. Officials say there are videos on TikTok and other social media platforms showing people claiming to be finance experts with tips to get out of paying your utility bills. The videos recommend sending strange documents with certain flags and seals. Spire says they have been receiving these documents from customers in Missouri, but they want people to know they are not legit.
These posts are absolutely untrue. You know the saying that if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is, and that's the case here. And it's really upsetting for us because in most cases, these customers are struggling to pay their bill. And so by them taking these tactics, it's really just delaying them potentially getting any assistance or going on a payment arrangement to help out.
Spire says if you need assistance paying your bill, they have programs to help. For those who didn't become an instant millionaire or a billionaire for the Powerball jackpot this week, there may be still hope. The Mega Millions drawing is tonight. Astrid Martinez tells us how many are hoping for a little double Dutch luck as the Mega Millions jackpot continues to climb.
Lottery dreamers have their eyes on another prize.
I'm gonna get
5 of the Mega.
Yes. After a winning ticket for the $1.8 billion Powerball jackpot was sold.
Hope, you have to be hopeful and wish that maybe you'll hit it. Dream big.
Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot sits at $720 million, making it the game's 5th highest payout. People are piling up at stores ahead of the drawing.
Because you can't win if you don't play.
All eyes were on Wednesday's Powerball until all 6 magic numbers were sold at this tiny mini market in Los Angeles, just a few blocks from Skid Row. The store's owners, a mother and daughter duo, became popular overnight, as well as millionaires, claiming their $1 million check. They immediately turned around and started selling more lottery tickets.
For us, no change. Life is keep going. We are like a normal any other person, so we keep going. That's it.
The winning numbers were 7, 10, 11, 13, and 24, with a Powerball of 24. But the mystery winner has not stepped forward.
So they have to claim the prize and then go through a vetting process at the California Lottery to ensure they are the legitimate winner.
The soon-to-be billionaire will choose between the $516.8 million lump sum or an annuity of $1.8 billion spread over 3 decades. Astrid Martinez, CBS News.
The last time a Mega Millions player hit the top prize was in April 18. The jackpot will continue growing until someone wins. The odds of hitting tonight's jackpot are just over 302 million. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in your first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, seeing the world through pink-colored glasses.
The Barbie craze is making its way from coast to coast. I'm Danya Backus with how people are going pink.
Plus, yet another locally acquired case of malaria pops up in America, bringing the total to 8. We'll have the latest. And Chris returns with another look at your forecast and what the 4 states can expect heading into the weekend. You're watching the KOAM Morning News, more real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Top in Nation Watch this morning. The unrelenting heat dome engulfing much of the nation shows no signs of letting up. More than 125 million Americans remain under heat alerts in more than a dozen states. Central Arizona's excessive heat warning is in effect until Sunday night. Phoenix is approaching nearly 3 weeks of consecutive days with temperatures hitting 110 degrees or hotter. Law enforcement sources tell CBS News that the investigation into accused serial killer Rex Heuermann has spread to at least 4 states: New York, New Jersey, South Carolina, and Nevada. Police are trying to determine if the suspect is connected to any additional unsolved murders, including a wave of killings in Atlantic City in 2006. And CBS News has learned police are looking into whether one or more of 3 murders Heuermann is charged with may have taken place inside the Long Island home he shared with his wife and children. Officials in New Hampshire have solved a decades-old cold case with the help of genetic genealogy, but the suspect will not be arrested. State Attorney John Formella says authorities believe Ronnie James Lee killed Laura Crumpton more than 40 years ago. The 23-year-old victim was found dead in her Portsmouth apartment back in September of 1981. Authorities did not start testing DNA samples from the crime scene until 2022. They say using technology and additional evidence, they were able to identify Lee as a suspect, but Lee died from an overdose in 2005. The case will still be marked as closed and solved. America is going into a pink craze over the new Barbie movie that opens in theaters today. The film, based on Mattel's iconic Barbie doll, takes viewers into Barbie's world in Malibu, California, where everything is perfect, and how people across the country are trying to keep that feeling going by putting themselves into their own Barbie bubbles. Diana Barcusis has more.
Hey Barbie, can I come to your house tonight?
Sure. The pinks, magentas, and teals that color Barbie's world are making their way into home decor from coast to coast.
The Barbiecore phenomenon, to me, is so emblematic of what's taking place today. People just feel so much more free to turn to color to express who they are.
Pantone chronicles color trends from home decor to fashion to cosmetics. Vice President Lori Pressman says Barbie's vivid color palette evokes more than just a feeling of nostalgia.
Is it about immersing ourselves in something that reeks of excitement and positivity, so you look around and you can't help but feel good?
And that's exactly why social media influencer Beverly Griffith says she painted her Nashville home several shades of pink. She's transformed her living space into her very own dollhouse, a place that brings her joy.
This is called Dream House Tourmalet. This is a very modern, sophisticated silhouette.
Furniture retailer Joybird jumped into the Barbie pool with its collection that centers around this hot bubblegum pink sofa.
We've always known hot pink was an extremely popular color, and we just see that being carried out through all different types of pop culture and now through interior design.
If you're not quite ready to go all in with such bold colors, there are other ways to experience Barbie's universe. Like at this World of Barbie experience in Santa Monica, California, or this Airbnb dream house in Malibu. As to whether the Barbiecore trend will stick around,
it's a distinctive design statement.
We'll have to wait and see. But for now, fans are just enjoying feeling pretty in pink. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Pantone's 2023 color of the year is called Viva Magenta. The company revealed that choice long before the hype about the Barbie movie even started, and says the bold color is indicative of Americans' desire to feel better as we emerge from the pandemic. That's a look at some of today's top national story. Here's Chris with a look at the forecast.
Yeah, we're starting to see more of these showers and thunderstorms roll into the area, including some severe thunderstorms. We're going to take a complete look at that forecast and what our weekend is looking like when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6:17 now on this finally Friday, and we've got showers and thunderstorms to contend with out there, including some severe thunderstorms. Now, for the majority of southeast Kansas, you've been locked in to some moderate rainfall, much needed rainfall across the area. However, we've now got this little thunderstorm developing right on the Kansas-Oklahoma state line, and then we do have strong thunderstorms that were in south central Kansas, now lifting northeast into Chautauqua County, and we do have severe thunderstorms across parts of northeastern Oklahoma. Oklahoma. We still have a warning barely clipping the southern edge of Washington County, and they've gone ahead and said that these strong thunderstorms, because they've canceled this warning in Osage County, but they're still saying strong thunderstorms here moving into Washington County and the Wada counties with 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and then the main line of severe storms still down around the Tulsa area, continuing to push off to the east-northeast. So let's take a look over the last 3 hours or so with these thunderstorms. This whole thing, you see the spin as it's coming through. It was moving southeasterly as it came across parts of southwestern Kansas, got into north central Oklahoma, began spinning off to the east, and now it's beginning to lift slightly more northeasterly, and we had this line of storms develop out ahead of the severe thunderstorms. Now, these are not severe, but they all continue to lift off to the east-northeast across the area. So here's where our active warnings are. Again, they canceled the one in Osage County, so that one should be disappearing soon. We've had wind gusts anywhere from 60, 70, 80 miles an hour across parts of north central Oklahoma, and we still have the severe thunderstorm watch for all of our counties in northeast Oklahoma and for Benton County and northwest Arkansas that will continue until 10 a.m. So we're going to continue to monitor these storms as they roll through and bring you the latest on any watches and warnings as they move into the area. Now, once we get through the morning, we'll still have some scattered showers and thunderstorms holding on until about 2, 3 o'clock today, and then everything starts to clear out, and it does so quickly. Leaves us with partly cloudy to mostly clear skies, slightly lower humidity levels out there, and a relatively pleasant Friday afternoon and an absolutely gorgeous evening across the area. A nice evening to actually open the windows and not make it, hotter in your house. We head into Saturday afternoon. A couple of pop-up storms are possible here and there. I think most of us will remain dry, but we do have that chance. And then as we go late into Saturday evening, we could see some additional thunderstorms coming in from the north, moving off to the south. At this time, we're not anticipating any strong or severe thunderstorms, just some good old-fashioned rainmakers out there, which again, we absolutely need that rain. Cloud cover beginning to increase in Joplin ahead of those storms in Oklahoma. We're mostly cloudy, 72. Dew points at 64. Humidity is at 76%. Temperatures around the region we've been talking about. I want to show you the little orange area here where it's a pinch warmer in the parts of southeast Kansas and through northeast Oklahoma. Hence why that watch is out. There's a little more instability to work with across northeast Oklahoma, and these storms again continue to lift off to the east-northeast. So we'll see what they do over the next couple of hours here. Up to the north, cooler, 68 Iola, 69 Fort Scott, 67 in Nevada, 70 Lamar, 71 Pittsburgh. And then you head south, we go 73 Chetopa, 76 Veneta Grove, and 75 in Anderson. So again, we'll keep an eye on these storms for you. Scattered thunderstorms continue through our morning and keeping us in the 70s through the morning. We're going to go upper 70s, lower 80s today for highs. We'll start to go mostly cloudy in the afternoon. Clouds continue to clear as we head through the evening hours, and we will drop back to a comfortable 65 degrees tonight. And as we look ahead, we'll start to warm up a bit tomorrow. We'll go upper 80s, lower 90s on Sunday. The humidity starts to return, and unfortunately, so does the heat. Pop-up thunderstorm chances as we head into the next work week, and triple digits return out there as well. So you got to make sure you're back to taking those heat safety precautions next week. Let's check your forecast. Again, we'll continue to monitor these thunderstorms this morning, have the latest as it comes in, and we'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, patients who undergo gastric bypass surgery for weight loss may be at an increased risk of developing non-alcohol substance abuse. That's according to researchers in Sweden who stress the importance of therapy both before and after the procedure. The silver lining, even though gastric bypass patients in the study were 2.5 times more likely to develop a substance abuse disorder, the overall number of those affected is still low. Researchers in England suggest inducing labor may lead to better birthing outcomes for low-income, disadvantaged women. According to UK hospital data, inducing labor at 39 weeks in women with low-risk pregnancies led to a small reduction in complications like stillbirth and neonatal deaths. And researchers from Columbia University and the University of Texas are using AI to learn more about human evolution. They identified skeletal changes that led primates to walk upright. The new tools also allow scientists to understand how genes and skeletal features are associated with debilitating conditions like hip, knee, and back arthritis. Study authors say the findings could help those working on better ways to prevent or treat those conditions. Over 1 in 10 young adults in the U.S. are admitting they regularly use e-cigarettes in a new study from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The new data indicates that those between the ages of 18 and 24 use e-cigarettes the most out of the people who report use in 2021. 11% of young adults indicated that they actively consume those products. Also, smokers under the age of 44 are more likely to be dual users, meaning they use both cigarettes and e-cigarettes. CDC researchers has already shown a jump in e-cigarette sales in the U.S. from 2020 to 2022. Another case of malaria was reported in Florida this week. According to a weekly report from the Florida Department of Health, in addition, a case of locally acquired malaria was reported in Saratoga County. So far this year, 7 cases of locally acquired malaria have been reported in Florida. The Texas Department of State Health Services reported a separate case of malaria last month, bringing the total number in the United States for this year to 8. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says these locally acquired malaria cases are the first reported in the United States since the last 20 years. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we're continuing to watch strong to severe thunderstorms rolling into the area, and we now have a severe thunderstorm warning for Chautauqua County, so we're going to take a closer look at that for you. And it runs until 7 a.m. this morning, and it is for primarily strong damaging wind gusts of around 60 miles an hour, and it's moving off to the northeast at about 40 miles an hour, so it's something we will keep an eye on. We also continue to have these strong to severe thunderstorms down into northeastern Oklahoma, continuing to lift off to the east-northeast. So we'll watch this. We have the severe thunderstorm watch as well. That is for northeastern Oklahoma and into northwest Arkansas until 10 a.m. So again, new severe thunderstorm warning for Chautauqua County until 7 a.m., 60 mile an hour wind gusts, and that warning barely clipping parts of southern Washington County, and then severe thunderstorm watches until 10 a.m. We'll continue to monitor these storms and bring you the latest on the watches and warnings when we come back.
Right now at 6:30, residents and city leaders gather in Pittsburgh to discuss possible solutions to the homeless problem.
We're continuing to track strong to severe thunderstorms rolling through the area. These storms will help cool us down, but we got to get through this first. We'll have the latest on the watches and warnings coming up.
Also, we look at the reasoning and the factors for the growing trend among millennial and Gen Z women who are choosing to not have children.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6:30 a.m. I'm Amber Jenkins.
I'm Chris Warner. So as I mentioned, we've got strong to severe thunderstorms rolling through the area this morning. We talked about it yesterday as a possibility, and here those storms are. While we head on over to the Skywatch Storm Tracker, let's take a look at what we have going on. So we have a more recently issued severe thunderstorm warning for Chautauqua County. That runs until 7 a.m. And also following through, we now have an alert for Labette County for a strong thunderstorm that we're keeping an eye on as well. And then we have a number of warnings back through northeastern Oklahoma, but other than just barely clipping a southern portion of Washington County, none of these yet in our immediate area. But as you can see, we have this nice big line of strong to severe thunderstorms continuing to push through the area. Now, the good news is winds are a little calmer than they were earlier. Out by Enid, they were just looking at winds gusts pushing 80 miles an hour. It's kind of calmed down a bit, but we still have, even for this morning in Chautauqua County, we have winds still pushing 60, 70 miles an hour out there. And this whole system has been spinning around the low. It was surging southeast, began to turn east. And as you see, I mean, you don't have to be a weather expert to see the spin on this, as it's now beginning to push off to the north and to the east. So we'll have to see what happens if these move into a less favorable environment in parts of Kansas and Missouri, or if they're going to be strong enough to hold their own and still pack a little bit of a punch as they move into the area. So quick recap on our alerts. Severe thunderstorm warning, Chautauqua County until 7 a.m. for 60 mile an hour wind gusts, one barely clipping Washington County. We have severe thunderstorm watches for northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas until 10 a.m. We'll continue to watch all of these storms through the morning and bring you the latest on the watches and warnings as they come in. Amber?
Thank you, Chris. A Kansas woman is dead after she was struck by a train Thursday afternoon. Barton County, Missouri authorities say they received a call and responded near the state line near Mulberry, Kansas. The woman died at the scene. Authorities say she was on foot. Columbus, Kansas authorities are dealing with a suspicious device. Authorities say around 11 Thursday morning, demolition crews found a suspicious-looking device at 1212 West Maple Street.
KHP bomb squad and Kansas State Fire Marshal's office initially we secured the area, didn't allow anybody in, but after they obtained some more additional information, they deemed that we could just open up the streets, and they don't feel there's a huge threat.
Authorities say the device resembled a pipe with a bottle cap on one end. Pittsburgh area citizens come together as a part of a grassroots effort to address the issue of homelessness in the community. It was a packed house last night as residents gathered at the Pittsburgh Reese Nichols office for a meeting to discuss the issues. Representatives from various organizations that help the homelessness gave presentations on the services they provide, and members of the public participated with a Q&A session. Organizers say the goal of the meeting was to educate the community and help residents understand what can be done to support local people struggling with homelessness.
Everybody talks to all their friends, neighbors, kind of passing by coffee to coffee, but we're not getting together and talking about it. If we're not getting together and talking about it, then we don't have proper solutions to the situation.
Business owners, property owners, and concerned citizens were all invited to attend the meeting. A growing number of millennial and Gen Z women are choosing not to become parents. Naomi Ruckums explained the many factors leading to that decision and why the shift is happening now.
Cecile Palacios is in a committed relationship, has a successful fitness career, and at age 40 does not plan to have children.
We as women are able to live fuller lives in general, and I think that that's why the child-free movement is happening.
Social media topics like childless by choice,
motherhood is not for everyone,
are getting lots of likes from like-minded people. A 2021 Pew Research Center survey shows Palacios is not alone. 44% of non-parents ages 18 to 49 say it is not too likely or not likely at all that they will have children someday, up 7 percentage points from 2018 survey. Reasons for not having children range from medical and financial to concerns about the state of the world and the environment, and most simply say they just don't want to.
No one can afford kids. That's a big thing. Affording children is really, really hard.
Experts say choosing not to have children is becoming more socially accepted, in part because the family makeup is changing. Dr. Paula England is Dean of Social Science at NYU Abu Dhabi.
For decades and decades, there was an assumption that to be an adult in our culture, you had to be married and you had to have kids. And I think that assumption is kind of falling away.
It's a welcome shift for many Gen Z and millennial women like Palacios.
Even though I've seen wonderful examples of motherhood, I think not enough space is held for there being more than one kind of definition of a woman.
Palacios has carved out her own space and hopes every woman can choose theirs. Naomi Ruckum, CBS News.
Recent Census Bureau data shows that as of 2021, 25% of 40-year-olds in the U.S. have never been married. That's up 20% in 2010. The Miami, Oklahoma Library unveiled its new mural. The mural depicts various Iowa County towns and landmarks, including Route 66. It was painted by Jessica Stout, who participated in a short Q&A with the kids after the unveiling to talk about her inspiration for the design.
Listen to the client who wants me to paint for them. I really listen to their ideas and try to figure out what their goals are in the art. Then I spend a lot of time just thinking, brainstorming, communicating with them. Then I just kind of put the whole design together and improvise as I go along.
The mural is in the Kids Connection area of the library. On Thursday, there were several activities at the Miami, Oklahoma Public Library, one of which was the creation of a rock snake. It started with someone painting the head of a snake onto a rock. Then members of the public were invited to come out and paint their own rocks to add to the snake. Downtown Joplin was packed last night for this month's Third Thursday celebration. This month's theme was Downtown Waterfest. It featured a variety of water activities for kids and adults to help people beat the heat. There was also live music, vendors, and food trucks. The Neosho County Fair is in full swing on Thursday. Activities kicked off with an opening ceremony and royalty coronation. 4-H members from all over Neosho County also participated in rockery, robotics, colorboard conference, and sheep judging.
So I got involved when I was real young, before I was even able to actually be in 4-H. My older brother, he was in 4-H since he was 7 all the way through 18 years old. So I just kind of grew up here every summer, and it fell right into my shoes, and I love every minute of it.
Today, 4-H members will show swine, rabbits, and goats. The fair runs through Monday. That's a look at the top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. If it's Friday, you know what that means. We got Shannon Becker in the studio to help us close out the week with his big 3 news stories.
Plus, we're continuing to monitor strong to severe thunderstorms moving into the area. We'll have the latest on your forecast a little later. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. We got Shannon Becker in the studio with his big 3 news stories of the week. Good morning, Shannon.
Good morning. You well today?
I'm doing pretty well. I mean, it's Friday, so.
Yeah, that's right. She ready to bounce. Let's take a look at the big 3 stories live and local. What's happening where you live? It was number 3 this week. Carmine's, award-winning pizza place in Joplin. They're closed already. It was like no warning. A note on the door when I was there, and the phone was ringing off the hook. You could hear it out on the sidewalk. They want to say thank you so much to Joplin, but they've got another opportunity. They'll be taking a trip to the East Coast and moving their family. But we do anticipate, they said someone will be taking over the business. That is unknown. Nothing is made public yet. Downtown Joplin. Our number 2 story. What's happening where you live? In Webb City, they called it the White House. Now it's gone. Home that kind of resembled the White House a little bit, was built in 1908. A family tried for about 11 years to sell it, and now it is being raised, and in fact it's gone too, for make way for a Popeyes restaurant. I know a lot of people were very upset about it, but on the market for 11 years, it was something like this doesn't get into a dilapidated condition overnight. It was decades of neglect. But hey, if you like Popeyes, here it comes. Our number 1 story. The tragedy outside of a villa. 2-vehicle head-on crash kills 1 driver, and then an infant in another vehicle. An 8-year-old little girl died at the scene in Lawrence County the other night. Traffic was blocked for about 4 hours. They life-flighted 2 people from the crash to Springfield. There's no update on their condition. At last check, serious injuries. It's your big 3 live and local stories of the week.
Wow.
Back to you, Amber.
Those stories are just always nice to know what's going on and right where we
Yeah.
live and stuff. What about Carmine's? Didn't they just win an award?
Oh,
at
yeah. They've been an award-winning pizza place for years. I know the owner, it was in March, he got like 2nd place in Las Vegas.
At the International Pizza
yes,
Expo.
Exactly.
But
he's
fantastic.
not revealing what his next opportunity is. But, you know, it's great. We always wish someone like that well when they're going to go on to bigger places. So.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you so much, Shannon, and we'll be right back after this. Head out the door. A Kansas woman is dead after she was struck by a train Thursday afternoon. Barton County, Missouri authorities say they received a call and responded near the state line near Mulberry, Kansas. The woman died at the scene. Authorities say the woman was on foot. Columbus, Kansas authorities have been dealing with a suspicious device. Authorities say around 11 Thursday morning, demolition crews found a suspicious-looking device at 1212 West Maple Street. Authorities say the device resembled a pipe with a bottle cap on one end. Downtown Joplin was packed last night for this month's third Thursday celebration. This month's theme was Downtown Water Fest. It featured a variety of water activities for kids and adults to help people beat the heat. There were also live music, vendors, and trucks. The Neosho County Fair is in full swing. On Thursday, activities kicked off with an opening ceremony and royalty coronation. 4-H members from all over Neosho County also participated in rockery and robotics, clover bud conference, and sheep judging. That's a check of today's top news headlines, the news you need to know before you head out that door.
And we are continuing to monitor strong to severe thunderstorms across the area. We still have a severe thunderstorm warning for Chautauqua County that runs until 7 a.m. for 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. We're also monitoring a strong storm now entering southern Labette County, moving almost due north. And then the good news is these storms have weakened a bit below severe limits. That's not to say they couldn't re-intensify. We'll keep an eye on them, but no severe thunderstorm warnings with this line. But we do have what are known as significant weather advisories. It's like the one in Labette County. These storms still packing winds upwards of about 50 miles an hour as they continue to race off to the roughly east-northeast across the area. So again, we'll continue to monitor these storms as they roll through. And again, the only warning we have is Chautauqua County until 7 for 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, but we still do have the watch, severe thunderstorm watch for northeast Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas, and that runs until 10 a.m. for us on our Friday morning. Now, as we head into the afternoon, we're going to see the scattered showers and thunderstorms continuing. The last of these should be out of here by about 2, 3 o'clock. And then we'll have a really nice Friday ahead of us as we continue into the afternoon and evening hours. We'll go partly cloudy, mostly clear. We head into our Saturday, not a bad day overall, but as we head into the afternoon and evening hours, we could see a stray pop-up storm or two. I think most of us should remain dry, but again, a stray pop-up storm or two is possible across the area. And then we head into Saturday evening and we'll see the opportunity for another round of showers and thunderstorms, but at this point, not expecting any severe weather. So that's some good news there. We're mostly cloudy in Joplin. We're starting to get those clouds off those storms in northeast Oklahoma. Sitting at 72, dew point 64, humidity coming up as well at 76%. So we're getting a little more of this warmer air mass here for these storms. That's why there's that possibility they could re-intensify. So we'll watch them for you. We got cooler conditions to the north, 68 Iola, 69 Fort Scott, Nevada, 70 Pittsburgh, 74 Miami, Neosho, and 76 down in Grove. And as we get our day started, we're going to have scattered thunderstorms continue through the morning, and some of those could still be on the strong side. We'll hang out in the 70s, and then once the storms begin to clear out, we will warm up, upper 70s, lower 80s for our highs today. We'll be again mostly cloudy initially, and then we'll see those clouds begin to clear across the area. Then we go into the evening, beautiful evening, and a great overnight as well as we go back into the mid-60s. So if you want to open the window, maybe put your box fan in the window, let a little of that fresh, cool air in. Tonight's the night to do it because this won't last. We're going to start to warm up tomorrow. We go into the upper 80s, and then we'll go into the lower 90s on Sunday. And after that, we get pop-up storm chances nearly every day next week. Our temperatures also climb into the triple digits again. And you know, with pop-up thunderstorms, one of the things they need as a key ingredient is that mugginess, and that's going to be a concern as we head into next week as well. We'll continue to monitor the storms this morning, have more on your forecast and what you need to know when we come back. But first, we're going to head off to New York City and see what's happening on CBS Mornings.
I'm Nate Burleson. Coming up on CBS Mornings, David Begnaud introduces us to a man who's celebrating life despite getting a life-threatening diagnosis. It's a story of strength and love. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Now 6:53 on this Friday morning here in the 4 states. Finally Friday. We're taking a live look at the MoDOT camera 32nd and range line. We're starting to see increasing clouds in the metro area, and that is ahead of these thunderstorms that are building out to our west. So the good news is this severe thunderstorm warning in Chautauqua County will be allowed to expire here in about 9 minutes as the storm is beginning to weaken. We're still monitoring these storms because, as you can see, they still look pretty impressive out there, and we still have a number of what they call significant weather advisories. And what that means is these storms are strong, but they're below severe limits. So we're looking at still seeing some gusty winds upwards of about 50 miles an hour with this activity. That's not to say it couldn't re-intensify. We'll, of course, be monitoring this through the morning for you. But right now, the only warning we have is Chautauqua County, and that's going to be allowed to expire here coming up in about 8 minutes now, 7-8 minutes. So that's some good news. You can see this whole complex continuing to rotate through. What it doesn't go back far enough to show you as it rolled through southwestern Kansas, dove southeast. The spin here brought it easterly through north central Oklahoma, and now that it's getting into our area, you can see that spin is turning it back to the northeast. So we're all going to get in on some much needed rain across the area, and hopefully we can keep these storms below severe levels, because that's not what we need. However, at least for now, this severe thunderstorm watch northeastern Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas does continue until 10 a.m. So these storms could potentially re-intensify, and we'll see what happens as they get into southeast Kansas and into southwest Missouri. We're not looking at as unstable of an air mass here as we were back into northeastern Oklahoma. So they may still be stormy. They may still be strong, but they may not be packing the same punch as they start to roll through the rest of the area. Now, as we head into the afternoon, we'll see these scattered showers and thunderstorms. They'll start to wrap up across the area, and I think the last of them will be out of here between about 1 and 3 o'clock this afternoon. And after that, we'll have partly cloudy to mostly clear skies, a great evening across the area. And even better than that is some slightly lower humidity, which is going to be wonderful because, man, it has been summertime in the 4 states the last several days, hasn't it, across here? Even yesterday, when our temperatures weren't super high, we still had super high humidity and made it just feel miserable out there. Now, as we head into our Saturday, we've got a pretty decent Saturday. We're going to be a little bit warmer, and we could see a stray thunderstorm or two, so some pop-up storms. But you know what that means as well? That means humidity levels, dew point levels are going to be creeping back up because there will be just enough energy for a couple of pop-up storms as we head through the afternoon and evening hours on our Saturday. As we head into Saturday evening, though, we've got a better opportunity for a few more thunderstorms, and at this time, we're not looking at any severe weather as we head into Saturday evening and Sunday morning, and again, hopefully, we can keep it that way. Our camera, 7th and range line, looking back to the southwest, and you can see the darker skies as those storms get a little closer to the area, but again, right now, no severe weather, which is great. Let's keep it that way. 71 in Joplin, obviously mostly cloudy. Dew point and humidity have gone up a little bit over the last hour or so in the metro area. And you can see these oranges where these warmer temperatures are. And that was part of the reason they put out that severe thunderstorm watch, is there was some warmer, unstable air across northeastern Oklahoma that these storms could potentially feed off of. So that's why we'll continue to monitor them for you. But you go further north, a little more stable and considerably cooler. We had 68 Iola, 69 in Fort Scott, Nevada, 70 Pittsburgh, 73 Parsons, Chautauqua, 74 Miami, still warm southerly, see 76 Grove and Jay, 75 Anderson, and 74 in Neosho. And as we get our morning started, again, scattered thunderstorms through the morning, hanging out in the 70s. Highs today, upper 70s, lower 80s. A beautiful day once we get through these morning showers and thunderstorms out there. And this evening, a great evening to open the windows or just sit out on the porch for a little bit because it's going to be great. Mild mid-60s for our overnight lows. As we go into tomorrow, as I mentioned, we are going to start to warm up a little bit and go into the upper 80s. We go lower 90s Sunday, and unfortunately, the rest of the next work week, back to the triple digits. And because we have pop-up storm chances, as we mentioned, that means we're going to have some slightly higher humidity levels, which means we could have some unpleasant heat index values to deal with next week as well. So, of course, we'll continue to monitor these storms through this morning, but the good news is they have calmed down a bit.
Alrighty. Well, you know, you can up ahead.
Yeah, you can join us over on Fox 14. That's coming up at 7 a.m. for the KOAM Morning News over there. That's going to wrap it up for us for here, though, and we will see you back here Monday morning, bright and early at 5 a.m.
Oh, so much fun. I ain't going to say nothing because I ain't got nothing nice to say. So I'll just keep it like that.
It turned into a thrilling time. I have no idea.
You asked control room. I don't know.
I'm sure they're working on a plan.
We'll find out as the show is airing, probably.
Okay, that is new, but the good news is that is out of our viewing area. And that warning in Chautauqua, come on, there we are, should go away here in about 3 minutes. And then we'll see what happens after that.
Also,